Heidi-ho, Gracers. It's your favorite three girls here. We just want to run through the PowerPoint quickly with you since we are not doing a jam session. So let's talk about Henri Rousseau. There he is, great French guy. Usually smokes a cigarette too. He was born May 21st in Laval, France. That's here. Paris is up here, so not too far from Paris. His father was a plumber, but he couldn't make ends meet, so Henri had to work with him as well. His family lost their home and they had to move, but Henri stayed in Laval and lived with family members so he could finish his schooling. He was a mediocre student in main subjects, but he did win awards for drawing and music. When his father died, he moved to Paris to support his mother, and he began to work for the government. He became a toll collector, which he did for about 20 years. It did expose him to a lot of the countryside outside of Paris, and he grew to love it so much. The job was pretty slow, so he sketched when he wasn't busy, and on days he would paint some of the sketches. That's why we call him a Sunday painter. He did not do it for a living. He just did it because he loved it. Sunday painter. This is an early self-portrait of his. He updated his self-portrait throughout his life. And we want to ask the kids if they can spot a familiar object in the background. You have to look pretty hard. But, there's the Eiffel Tower in the background there. He's the first artist to have painted the Eiffel Tower. Cute little piece of trivia. These paintings are all of the countryside that he saw when he was working as a toll gate collector. They are flat, simple, and focus on landscape and buildings with little detail. They almost look like they are cut out of construction paper and then pasted on. Very childlike. So we call him a primitive painter. You can ask the kids if they know what primitive means. He did not have any formal art training. I think we've studied just a couple other artists that didn't have formal art training. Do you remember?
Have we done Grandma Moses yet?
No, I never got her.
Okay.
It was somebody last year, but I can't remember. Did not have any formal art training. Anywho, he did teach himself how to paint. Some of the characteristics of primitive painting include flat space, large, important objects, and repeated patterns. And you can see how he repeats his trees, lots of repeated leaves here. And then the focus of the painting is usually in the center. There we go. His style is characterized by careful outlining of his subjects. I know, it's super creepy, right?
That is so creepy. Oh my god, it's like straight out of Halloween.
Oh
my god. I'm sorry. Non sequitur.
See, careful outlining of his subjects. You can see that's because he outlines them, it makes them look like they're cutouts. Unrealistic blending of colors, the stiffness of subjects, lack of linear perspective, which means objects in the distance should appear smaller. Obviously, the baby is not bigger than the tree, so a little off kilter there. But he learned to paint by beginning at the top of the canvas until he reached the bottom or foreground, which I think would be tough to do. But
it would be, because look at the proportion of the calves and the thighs.
But that might be part of the reason why his proportions were so off. This painting is called the Muse, inspiring the poet. We want to look at the people in this painting and compare the size of the hand to the head. It's almost the same size as the head. Now, in my case, that is true because I have a tiny head. But this woman's head should be bigger than her hand, so his proportions are definitely off. Again, they're the center focus of the painting. Lots of repeated patterns. He enjoyed nature. You see it in every branch and leaf he paints. He studied exotic plants and animals at the botanical gardens around Paris and the zoos. And he also got his information from books. So this painting has two names. It's called Surprised, or Tiger in a Tropical Storm. The reason it's called Surprised is because we're supposed to imagine that there is an animal here that he's about to pounce on. You can ask the kids what they think he is going to do. This is one of his most famous paintings of his jungle scenes. It's also one of his earliest jungle paintings. This is called the Flamingos. You can see it's very different from the jungle because it's much less crowded than the others, and most of the stuff is in the distance, in the background. And his flamingos are not they're not the center focus of the painting. He claimed that he had no teacher other than nature. This is called The Merry Jesters and the Snake Charmer. These are also two famous paintings, and we again want to ask the kids to look at the plant detail. The leaves in this and the shading are a little more mature and very beautiful, but he did paint lots of animals. This one you see flamingos, snakes, there's probably a bird hidden in the tree here. Lots of cool plants and stuff. Tropical plants that you would not find in France. So let's see, he died in 1910 at the age of 64. He had a blood clot in his leg and he ignored it. They did surgery on it. It became gangrenous, but they could not save him and he died from it. So if you have a blood clot, take care of it, people. That's our lesson learned. That's right. He earned very little money from his paintings while he was living. He did earn respect as an artist while he was alive, but did not gain worldwide recognition until many, many years after his death. Again, another self-portrait. You can see how different it is from the first self-portrait I showed you. These are some fun facts. He was married in 1888. He had 6 children, but only one survived beyond the age of 18. Oh. He was 24 when he got married and married a 14-year-old daughter of his landlord. Interesting. He never left France or saw a jungle. All of his information came from books or the zoo. Rousseau did not become a full-time artist until the age of 49, and he was never able to support himself fully as an artist, so he would take odd jobs. One of the jobs he did was play the violin on the street to earn money. A Rousseau painting was used as an inspiration for the movie Madagascar, which is kind of fun for the kiddos. And Pablo Picasso was an admirer of Henri Rousseau, and he held a banquet to honor him, to honor the artist. One day he was walking down the street and he found a giant canvas that Rousseau had painted. It was being sold on the street just to reuse the canvas, not as a painting. But Picasso realized that he was a genius and bought the painting and became friends with Rousseau. And this is a picture of Picasso holding 2 of Rousseau's portraits. This is a self-portrait of Rousseau, and then this is another one. I don't know who it is. But cool stuff, right? So any questions, let us know. Also, at the end of the PowerPoint, they have not been added on yet, but there will be the pictures of the step-by-step pictures of the tigers, how to draw the tigers.
Be sure to check out the project video.
Be sure to check out the project video. It should be listed. Do you know what grade is, I could not find it, what grade is hanging this month? Who's mounting?
We're going to have to look it up.
Okay, we'll look it up and we'll put it in an email to you all. Okay, it will also be on the board in the meat locker. Anything else? Anyone?
That's it.
Oui, oui. Au revoir. We'll see you guys soon.